pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The listing under consent agenda is a group of items to be acted on with a single vote and motion. The agenda is designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by City Council. The agenda is designed, and the mayor will ask if a citizen or council member wishes to have a specific item removed from the consent agenda for discussion. Either the public or a council member may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda at that time prior to the council's vote. First, approval of the work session and regular meeting minutes of May 11th, 2021. B, approval of the expenditure vouchers of May 25th, 2021. C, approval of a renewal fermented malt beverage liquor license for Stokely Corporation, DBA Handy Mart South, located at 806 and a half South Broadway in Cortez. Approval of a renewal hotel and restaurant liquor license for Fiesta Mexicana, number 3, Incorporated, DBA Fiesta Mexicana Family Restaurant, located at 430 North Highway 145, Cortez. C, approval of a change in corporation for a tavern liquor license for Cortez Elks Lodge number 1789 Incorporated, DBA Cortez Elks number 1789, located at 2100 North Dolores Road, Cortez.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with an amendment to our agenda tonight to add voluntary water restrictions as F under new business.
Second.
Mayor, would we like to announce that Councilmember Lucero is absent tonight?
Yes, Orly Lucero is not present tonight in person or on Zoom.
Thank you. Medina?
Aye.
Crosby? Aye. Rainey?
Aye.
Gilbreath?
Aye.
Lady?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item is the citizen participation. 6 citizens will be allotted time to address council, and remaining public comments will be allotted under agenda item 9. No member of the public shall comment more than once at any meeting, nor shall any person be seated at the time of another commenter. Comments may be limited to 4 minutes per person. Please comment on items not listed as public hearing. Council may not respond to comments. So are there any comments?
Mayor?
Sir, in the front?
Sorry, Mayor, can we make sure to alternate, Mayor?
Yes.
Can we make sure to alternate,
Yeah,
like
we'll-
one for inside here, in that room, and then online?
Right, yeah. Yeah, we'll take one from the audience and we'll alternate with one from the other room. Okay, go ahead, sir. If you go to the podium, state your name and address, make sure your mic is on, and speak directly into the mic, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Matt Kiefauer. I live at 226 North Market Street here in Cortez, Colorado. And I would just like to thank the Cortez City Council for considering the proclamation this evening that would designate June as Pride Month in the city of Cortez. I feel that your leadership on this issue is much appreciated, and I believe that signing the proclamation would go far in recognizing the contributions that the LGBT community has made within the city. This past year has been full of a lot of hateful rhetoric, bullying, and even some threats that are made to LGBTQ people and their allies. I believe that signing the proclamation should be seen as potentially the first step in healing a divided community. Again, I want to thank you so much for your leadership on this issue.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone from the other room that wishes to speak tonight? Go ahead, go up to the podium, state your name and address, and speak into the microphone, please.
There's no podium.
Okay, so go ahead, state your name and address then.
My name is Sherry Simmons and I live in Lewis, Colorado. I'd like to begin my time with a prayer. Almighty Holy God, thank you for the freedom to come here together. We invite you here, Lord, and ask that all the decisions would be centered around your will. We give you all the glory and all the praise. We ask that you bring your light into the darkness. And we thank you for loving us, and we thank you for the gift of the Holy Spirit. We pray this in the blessed name of Jesus, Lord, our Savior. Amen. I too want to address the proclamation for designating the June month. First and foremost, I would like to state the fact that every day belongs to God, and to celebrate something like this is very hurtful to Christians. To suggest that communities celebrate to honor or be proud of a lifestyle which God condemns is shameful. It's morally wrong, and in itself that should be enough. In addition to this, another avenue is this brings more division in this community. Why is there a need to set a particular group out above another? We already have Black History Month. We have Asian Month. Stop it. We are all humans. We're all made in the image of God. I've heard the rebuttal on this. Well, just ignore it if you don't like it. That is exactly why this country is in the mess that she is in. We've ignored instead of speaking out. We've allowed God to be removed from many places, and now this nation is decaying. Homosexual practices are wrong. No matter how you try to moralize it or give it a name or an alphabet, it still remains wrong. It's a sin, an abomination to God. If you're gay, that's between you and God. Stop pushing it on others. Stop wanting to be considered equal when you continue to set yourself apart, raising yourself to this level or that level, or wanting to be recognized. We're all humans. We're all the same. I'll end this with one more note. God is patient and he is kind, and his love is everlasting. He is also a God of wrath. And when people continue to dishonor him, his wrath is shown. Sodom and Gomorrah are two cities which were well known for their homosexual practices. God destroyed them both. Don't hang this label on Cortez. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Someone from the audience here?
Somebody from online, make sure. Check Zoom. Go to attendees, or yeah. Okay, we have Rebecca Busick here.
Okay, Rebecca Busick on Zoom. Do you have a comment? Go ahead, Rebecca. Just unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I want to say thank you in advance to my name is Rebecca Busick, and I want to say thank you in advance to the council and to Mayor Mike Levy for signing the proclamation designating June as Pride Month in Cortez. I'm here to honor my brother-in-law, Mike Busick, who passed away in March, son of a minister, a proud Christian, and married to his husband, David, his partner of 20 years when he passed. I'm here to honor his life and the love shared between he and his husband, David, and the love shared in all relationships like theirs. And I thank the council for acknowledging that. Discrimination has no place here or anywhere else. Love is love. Thank you, and I hope other elected officials in the area follow your lead and take a more inclusive approach to leadership.
Thank you, Rebecca. Young lady in the green, please go up to the podium, state your name and address.
My name is Raleigh Marmerstein. I'm a resident of Cortez, 14175 Road 21. I want to thank you all for your leadership. In addition to the comments that have already been made, not to belabor any points, This proclamation is suicide prevention for our community members. This proclamation means we all matter here. And when we care for kids, when we care for our community members, when we make proclamations like the one for June, we can be saving lives. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take anyone in the room wish to speak. If so, go up to your microphone and state your name and address. Okay.
God, I'm shaking actually.
Okay.
We have one more person online.
Pardon?
We have one more person online.
Zoom?
Who needs to mute themselves? Can you mute yourself?
Okay. Who's the next one on Zoom?
Tiffany. Tiffany Gear. Tiffany Gear.
Tiffany Gear, do you have something to say tonight? Unmute yourself, Tiffany. State your name and address.
She might not be there.
Okay. Okay, Tiffany, are you there? Okay, well, is this Tiffany?
Yes,
Yes. State your name and address and go ahead.
my name is Tiffany Gear. I live at 1752 Brook Street in Cortez, Colorado. I want to thank the council for giving the opportunity for all of us to be heard. I do support Sherry in what she is saying. I do have a first cousin that is identifies as gay, and he's the only male that was able to carry on our family name, and that's not a choice he chose to take. I don't care if a person is heterosexual, bisexual, or if they're gay. I don't care. But what I see is division coming in this decision, and the disappointing fact that the proclamation was signed in advance of having the public comment available. This creates further division for our community. So if this proclamation is signed and it's going to go through, will the city council now then sign a proclamation for heterosexual recognition month? You can't have one without the other. There's no discrimination against people who are gay versus straight. So that, it's like we have a Martin Luther King Day, but we only have a President's Day. It's getting that balance in perspective. And I would like to see the council take that into consideration. I also would like to bring into the fact that we have a United States veteran that was trespassed from the rec center because he was unable to wear a face mask. In the rec center, this is a city building. These are tax-funded buildings paid by the taxpayers. We have no COVID restrictions in Montezuma County, put forth by our county commissioners, which is also by our Board of Health. There are no COVID restrictions. When will we open back up? When will people stop being discriminated against? If you wear a face mask, you can go into the chambers and you get your own special bathroom to use. But if you don't wear a face mask, you have to sit in a fishbowl and you get a separate bathroom to use. Is this 1940s to 1960s where you're really dealing with discrimination? This segregation is discrimination. And I would appreciate the city council taking a look at all of these aspects. And if you're going to have a gay pride month, then you need to have a heterosexual month. You need to have a Christian month. How many months in the year do we have? You can't have one without the other. I thank you for listening to me. I'm done.
Thank you, Tiffany. We'll take one more voice from the front here. Sir, and go up to the podium, state your name and address.
Good evening, I'm Jim Swartz. I live at 1102 East Carpenter here in Cortez. First of all, I'd like to thank the town council for the job you're doing. I appreciate all of you being up here and continuing your good job, so keep it up. I appreciate you being my town council for some of this Cortez. Thank you for proposing June as LGBTQ Pride Month. I'm proud of you for doing so. As a former high school history teacher, I will let a voice from history speak for me rather than put it in my own words. I will read another man's thoughts about dealing with those who are different. That man's name was Martin Niemöller. He was a Lutheran clergyman in Germany who was incarcerated for several years at the Dachau concentration camp until he was liberated by American forces fighting German fascists in 1945. We often hear of the 6 million Jews and 8 million Russian communists killed in these camps. There were also 15,000 homosexuals who were murdered there as well. Martin Niemöller was speaking of the cowardice of German intellectuals and clergy for not standing up for the Christian virtue of charity when he wrote the following in 1946. And he was a Lutheran clergyman. He said, first they came for the socialists and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the physically and mentally deficient and I did not speak out because I was neither. Then they came from the homosexuals and I did not speak out because I was not homosexual. Then they came for the trade unionists and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came from the clergy, which was me, and there was no one left to speak for me. And so I urge you to, I appreciate you passing this tonight where you can speak out for people who no one else will speak out for. Thank you for the proclamation.
Thank you, sir. If there's any more comments, we will continue those on later on the agenda. The next item under our agenda is new presentations. The first item is Pride Month proclamation.
Okay, can we just read it then?
Yeah.
Okay. Proclamation, June 2021, as LGBTQ2S+ Pride Month in the city of Cortez. Whereas every person should be able to live without fear, prejudice, discrimination, violence, hatred, and hatred based on race, religion, gender identity, and/or sexual orientation. And whereas in the movement toward equal rights for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people, a historic turning point occurred on June 28, 1969 in New York City with the onset of the Stonewall riots. During these riots, LGBTQ2S+ people, led by trans and gender nonconforming activists of color, rose up and fought against discriminatory criminal laws that have since been declared unconstitutional. And whereas LGBTQ2S+ Pride events have taken place around the country every June to commemorate the beginning of the Stonewall riots, and June is celebrated as LGBTQ2S+ Pride Month nationwide. And whereas the city of Cortez has a diverse LGBTQ2S+ community that includes people of all ethnicities, religions, ages, and professions. And whereas the city of Cortez cherishes the value and dignity of each person and appreciates the importance of equality and freedom. And whereas all are welcome in the city of Cortez to live, work, play, and every family in any shape deserves a place to call home where they feel safe, happy, and supported by friends and neighbors. And whereas the city denounces prejudice and discrimination based on age, gender identity, gender expression, race, color, religion, marital status, national origin, sexual orientation, or physical attributes as an affront to our fundamental principles. And whereas the city of Cortez lies on unceded Ute and Pueblo land, the violent colonization of which includes cultural destruction, forced assimilation, and the deliberate and targeted punishment and erasure of indigenous people of diverse sexualities, genders, and gender expressions. And whereas the city of Cortez acknowledges and remembers the loss of FC Martinez, a young Dene Two-Spirit person who was part of our community, to horrific homophobic, transphobic, and racist murder in Cortez on June 16th, 2001, and others who have been lost accidentally or by suicide due to environments hostile to their being. And whereas it is imperative that young people in our community of all sexual orientations, gender identities, and expressions feel valued, safe, empowered, and supported by their peers and community leaders. And whereas, despite being marginalized, LGBTQ2S+ people continue to celebrate authenticity, acceptance, and love. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of Cortez, on behalf of all residents of the City of Cortez, does hereby proclaim June 2021 as Pride Month in the City of Cortez and urges all residents to respect and honor our diverse community, to celebrate and to build a culture of inclusiveness and acceptance. Adopted this day, the 25th of May, 2021. Signed by Mayor.
Thank you, Rachel.
So it hasn't been signed yet, right?
Right.
No.
it hasn't.
So do we want to make a motion to direct the mayor to sign?
I would like to make a motion to direct the mayor to sign our June Pride Proclamation.
Second.
Yasi, Galbraith,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Lady.
Aye.
Can I add some thoughts to the proclamation?
Yes.
Thank you. In just the last few hours, we've received approximately 50 emails regarding this particular item, all of which I was able to read. And while certainly we've received some differing opinions on this topic, understandably, many of those that were dissenting will continue to believe what they will. This proclamation may do nothing to change that. It also commits no resources, no law, no order. It is, however, a way for us to say, we see you, which is so vitally important and in no way diminishes other group identities, but brings acknowledgement that this is a community which exists in our city. The reason I feel this proclamation is so important is because, one, in the goals that we have determined as a council earlier this year, we wanted to create an inclusive and safe community for all residents and visitors to thrive, one which welcomes diversity. This recognition is only one small step forward to achieving that goal. Having grown up in this community, I've seen many friends and colleagues who have not felt included in this community, some of whom identify as LGBTQ2S+. And secondly, as someone who works in suicide prevention, the feeling of connectedness, the strength of our social fabric, is a factor in whether individuals go on to attempt or die with suicide. By increasing the feeling of connectedness through things like acknowledging and being accepting of our LGBTQS+ neighbors, we are all building a stronger safety net for our city. There's power in words, and this proclamation, the words of this proclamation will permeate into the norms of our community, promoting a stronger feeling of connectedness. Those that have not felt welcome should feel welcome. They're wanted and accepted here. Lastly, because there's a part in here about youth suicide, I hope that these words reach those youth who identify as LGBTQ2S+. There's no doubt in my mind that our community members care about the youth in our community. I don't know how many times I've heard people talk with concern about the youth suicide rate in our county, and reasonably so. It is very concerning. I would venture to guess that a significant portion of those who have attempted and died by suicide in our city and our county have identified as LGBTQ2S+. And those youth in our community that identify as such are at a substantially higher risk for attempting. According to the Trevor Project, which is an online resource for youth who identify as LGBTQS+, LGBT youth are almost 5 times as likely to have attempted suicide compared to heterosexual youth. Not only that, but LGBTQ2S+ youth are at much greater risk to experience adverse childhood experiences around family dysfunction and emotional abuse growing up, which absolutely contributes to feelings of suicidality. We can certainly talk about this issue at length, and we can keep saying that, oh, we just need to allocate more resources to mental health. We need to allocate more towards mental health resources, which yes, we should. But what if the easiest and most immediate thing we could do right now is to simply acknowledge and accept those youth and adults as they are, ensure that they feel welcome in this community, that they live, and we will all be contributing to suicide prevention. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlena. Okay. The next item on the agenda is unfinished business. We're going to have a review of the Ride of the Ancients gravel grinder sponsorship request. Are there any members? Okay, go up to the podium and state your name and address, please.
My name is Susan Thomas. I live at 12249 Road G, Cortez. My colleagues Diane McBride from Southwest Colorado Canyons Alliance and Ashley Carroll were not able to be with me tonight, but we really appreciate the second opportunity to be on your agenda. I think my memorandum pretty much summed up all the activity and progress since May 11th, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, Susan, you approached the county commissioners to seek funding. What was the resolution of that?
That's correct. Unfortunately, they were very supportive and allocated no money.
Okay. So what is your next plan?
We hope you will entertain our request for some version of it. We're doing well with the private fundraising. I have checks for $1,700 right now. To be quite honest, I don't expect to get more than 500, maybe 750 more. Other things are going very well with the event. We have the well-known Hopi reggae band coming to play that night at the Cultural Center. Ed Caboti and the Yodis, he's pretty famous in this area. And a big market planned, good registrations. I would say everything's going well. We just don't want to spend every penny we make on paying bills and hope to have seed money for next year, which is why we're before you again.
If I remember correctly, you were asking for 5,000.
5,000 is the gap we have.
Okay.
I trust you to make the right decision for city council.
Okay. I would like to entertain to council, I know we were hesitant on the full amount, but, I would offer up $1,000 or 500 at least to cover permits or law enforcement and SAR costs or.
What are your thoughts, council?
I think I would be in favor of
Speak.
1,500.
Speak into the microphone, Mike.
I think I offer 1,000 or 1,500.
Okay.
I still have the concern just about funding outside of our regular grant program. But I would be comfortable with funding the law enforcement EMS as well as permits. Although I would ask the Montezuma County, Dolores County, and Town of Dolores to not charge for those permits at the same time.
So what was that amount?
That would be $650 total for those two.
Arlena, do you have any input?
I'm fine with 650.
You mean 750 or 650?
450 and 200.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I think this grinder bike ride would be beneficial to the economic development of the city, and it's going to attract people to this area. People are coming in for the Ride the Rockies, Phil's World's up running, the parking lot's full every weekend. I think this would help us out recovering from this COVID. I mean, I would recommend $1,000. So can we come to an agreement or compromise?
Can someone make a motion?
I will make a motion for council to allocate $1,000 to sponsor the Rite of the Ancients.
Second.
Rainey,
Aye.
Rossi, Medina,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Lady.
Aye,
Thank you for your support.
you're welcome. Okay, next item under new business is the 2021 concrete cost share project. Director of Public Works, Phil Johnson. Good evening, Phil.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm here to talk about our annual concrete cost share project, which we do every year. The members just do 60% cost share. We did 50/50 with our customers, residents, and businesses alike. This year's project was removal and replacement of approximately 469 square yards of damaged concrete sidewalks, 911 feet of curb and gutter, 94 square feet of new concrete sidewalks, 1088 curb ramps, and miscellaneous other small concrete projects throughout the city. We advertised this project in open bids on May 18, 2020, where we received 2 bids from local firms, one being Daniels Concrete Excavation Cortez and Smith's Materials in Flores. Our engineer's estimate was $195,000. And the 2 bids we received, Daniels Concrete Excavation Cortez was $189,710.57, and Smith Materials and Blowers $198,026.71, which really boded well for our project and our local bidders, all and our engineers estimate. The street capital fund has $210,000 budgeted for this work between concrete and storm drain. And the course share participants will reimburse the city for approximately $7,400. So the council, you can approve the bid submitted by Daniels Concrete as a low bidder, in the amount of $199,710. Approve the bid with any changes. Vote on to approve the bid, state the reasons so they can table this. Staff does in fact recommend that the bid be awarded to Daniels Concrete. The bid price of $189,710.57. There are 2 attachments. One is the spreadsheet with our bid amounts and also location, a list of the locations of work, as well as a hotspot map that just shows the locations of work.
Thank you, Phil.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to award the 2021 concrete cost share project to Daniels Concrete in the amount of $189,710.
Did someone make a second? I'm sorry, missed that.
Second.
Can I interject? Can you remind me, have we had Daniels Concrete do a project for us recently? We had Daniels Concrete.
Yes, previous years you've done the cost share project.
And how is that service done?
Well, he's done good work. We have had some, condition issues, not with regards to the work per se, but the expectancies. But I think, part of the issues we had were repetitive personnel on my team were no longer here. And I feel like, if I felt like this was an issue, I would state that even though they're a little bit, I would recommend them for A, B, or C, but I'm not doing that here.
Phil, when you say $7,400, is that total or per person?
No, that's the money coming back out of the bid from to us from private parties that we're splitting their projects with. So the citizens and our businesses that are participating, that works costing $14,800, but they pay half of it and we pay half of it. So even though our bid is $189 or whatever it is, it's going to be less than $7,400, of which we budgeted $210. So we're well under budget, and that's the money that we'll realize when we get it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Could I have a motion on this item?
We have a motion on the floor.
Okay, go ahead.
Rainey,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Ghazi,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Lady.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Next item on the agenda is a quasi judicial item. Set public hearing date for transfer of location for medical marijuana center on-site optional premises cultivation facility and retail marijuana store for Durango Organics LLP. City Clerk Linda Smith, City Attorney Mike Green.
We're looking to set the public hearing for this change of location and moving basically just across the street. But it's a very similar process to granting a new license. You will actually be looking at two processes of the same hearing, one for a medical optional grow on premises license and one for a retail marijuana approval of a state license. So we'd ask you to set it again on June 8th, 2021 for public hearing.
Thank you, Mike.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to set a public hearing date for June 8th, 2021 for transferring the location of a medical marijuana center on-site optional premises cultivation facility and retail marijuana store for Durango Organics LLP, DBA Dio Cortez from 1104 East Main Street to 1013 East Main Street, Cortez.
Second. Rainey,
Aye.
Ghazi, Dobry, Medina,
Aye.
Lady.
Aye. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the stop loss employee insurance. Director of Human Resources, Matt Kashner. Good evening, Matt.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to talk about our stop loss insurance. It's our employee health insurance program. And just to make sure everybody's on the same page, we'll kind of talk about what stop loss is. The city is partially self-insured. So the first, if bad things happen to me, the first $100,000 of my medical claims comes out of our self-insured health fund. And if I go over that $100,000, then we have stop loss insurance that starts paying those medical claims. And so the last couple of years, we've had two high claimants on our plan. And Berkshire Hathaway is currently our stop loss carrier. Now, because of those high claimants, they came to us with a 13.1% increase in premiums at the mean time, which is June here. And that equated to a $63,313 annual increase. So our guys with USI is our insurance broker. They're great guys. They go to Berkshire and try to negotiate that, and they got them down to 10.5%, which is still $50,700 annually. So they get to the market and have some options for us to look at now. And I'm going to let them talk about it. They're on the Zoom meeting. Dan and Steve, you guys there?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Dan Clark and I work for USI, as Matt was saying. And this past year, we evaluated the city's stop loss contract and premiums, as Matt was just discussing. And we did receive an increase in premium with the partnership with the current vendor, and the name of that partner is Berkshire Hathaway. And that increase was, as Matt mentioned, about overall a 15.5% increase in stop loss alone. That was an increase of about 13.1%. So by making the move to one of these options that we have been discussing the past couple of weeks with the City of Cortez's Human Resources team, we were able to get that premium down to 2.4%. So at the same time, we were able to improve the city's contract as well. So overall, the city's stop loss increase for the 2021 to 2022 plan year is below a leverage trend increase. And we went to the market for a number of reasons. The 13.1% is not the highest that we've seen. We've seen much more with stop loss, but in the age of COVID, the market trend is showing that the medical and prescription drug pricing is going up, and claims related to medical and prescription drug pricing can impact your stop loss. The good news for the city is overall, claims have run pretty well during COVID. The two large claimants that Matt mentioned earlier are now off the plan, and your data through the month of April of 2021 shows that the city is running very well. You don't have any claims above $50,000, and $50,000 is the midway point of claims that we evaluate and track and gather case notes and diagnosis and things like that, because it is the halfway point to your individual stop loss deductible of $100,000. In evaluating the market for competitive bids, we did go to several different carriers, but the tightest contract and the most competitive premiums were offered by TMS Re. And in vetting out the other carriers and evaluating what the current program is with Berkshire Hathaway, this positions the city well to have another successful year in terms of claims, in terms of a tight contract, and also helping position the city to rebound from COVID and how it was impactful to the economy.
Thank you, Dan. Stephen, did you have anything to say?
Yes, I just would like to say that every year when we market the plan, our goal is always to bring the city optional levers so they can decide the risk tolerance and budget needs. And Matt has done a good job, and we present to the city the best possible options available. And this year was a very good year to save some money. So a very good choice of those options.
And one other thing I wanted to add, I apologize for forgetting this, is Steve and I spent some time working with USI's lead national underwriter, and we talked to her about the options, and we explained to her the background with the city, and the option that you see before you comes with our underwriting team's blessing as well.
Thank you. I had one question, could you describe what no laser provision means to the lay people?
Sure. No laser provision means that if you have a high cost claimant, they will not be lasered out or singled out to be responsible to meet their own specific stop loss deductible. So previously you had two high cost claimants that hit such a high threshold that the stop loss vendor at the time assigned a laser to them, meaning that they sat apart from the rest of the group and had to meet their own much higher stop loss deductible. It depends on how the claims have run for that person who's been lasered. I think we've seen lasers in the amount of $275,000 and $350,000.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the council? No. Okay. Could I have an motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to award the stop loss employee insurance to TMS RE Inc., based on the no laser provision and the moderate increase in premiums.
Second.
Stover,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Rossi,
Aye, thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the adoption of COVID protocol. Council will consider adopting new protocol for COVID-19 policy for city buildings. Anyone like to kick this off?
Sure. In light of the new guidance from the CDC and the CDPHE, I would like to make a motion that the council end our current policy and delegate the policy to our city manager.
Can we authorize the mayor to sign a resolution doing that?
And authorize the mayor to sign a resolution doing it.
Okay.
Second?
Yeah. Okay.
Medina,
Aye.
Rossi, Rainey,
Aye.
Stover,
Aye.
Lane.
Aye, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the 4th of July plans for the city of Cortez. Council will consider directing staff on how to proceed with the 4th of July plans. Someone lead off on this one, this discussion.
Mayor, City Council, Bruce Sanders, City Manager. What we're really looking for is, and it was dependent somewhat upon the will of the council in regards to the protocol. Last year, we did not hold the July 4th celebration, and this year, we're just asking for a resolution from council, whether or not we should resolve or resume the celebration.
Thank you, Drew.
I believe, I was just researching this a little bit, but I believe in terms of large gatherings, it's at the discretion of the county or the city. And what regulations they would like to have for large outdoor gatherings.
Yeah, my understanding, Councilman Riazzi, is that it's at the discretion of the county right now. And as far as I know, there are no restrictions.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
I would like to see the 4th of July fireworks happen, but I would also like us to consider the fire risk too. The wildfire risk. If there is any.
Councilmember Medina, absolutely, and we can certainly work with the fire chief on that. I'm not sure exactly, I'm assuming he's the one who would have to go to the fire restrictions. So we are happy to follow up on that and make sure that occurs.
Drew, I believe the fire chief is in attendance in the office or in the building here. Morning or good afternoon, evening. Could you state your name and tell us who you are?
My name is Jay Balfour, Fire Chief, Cortez Fire Protection District at 31 North Washington. As far as the fire restrictions are concerned, the city of Cortez has the safest place to put on a fireworks show in the state of Colorado by virtue of the location that happens at. And we are very confident, and I've also spoke with the other fire districts in the county, the chiefs, and they're willing to lend additional support to cover the area on the 4th of July to put on a good show. District King Hotel and the Cortez Fire District have partnered up again this year to, as we did in 2019, to put on a really nice show. Questions?
See, we didn't have the fireworks last year. Did they order the fireworks supplies last year? If so, was that kept in storage?
So we did order a little bit more this year. Mr. Rattel plans to, in fact, we just unloaded that last week out at his house, the facility that he has for storing that. And so it's going to be just a little bit bigger show. And the Niagara Falls that the Rotary has done in the past. We'll have Niagara Falls as well, but it's going to be a little different version of what's been done previously. So same show, but probably just a little more man.
Yeah, Mayor, I have a concern.
Okay, go ahead, David, speak into the microphone.
I am still concerned about the pandemic. We have no closure on this. We have no way of checking to see if people have had their shots. I think it's potentially an invitation to disaster if we have large gatherings with no restrictions. I have no suggestion as to what those restrictions might be at this point, but I am concerned with it since our caseloads are not going away.
I think what we could do is encourage people to use their best judgment in terms of gathering and crowds, even wearing masks if you feel the need for that. Council, you have any other ideas?
Yeah, it's certainly with my experience attending the 4th of July event that people stick within their family units or the people that they're normally around. There's not an immense amount of intermingling between groups. And there's more than enough space for people to have that 6-foot distance in an outdoor setting.
But will they? That's my question.
Just hope that people do the right thing.
And we encourage folks to get vaccinated.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to, or we need to make a motion for this? Do you need us to make a motion for this?
Yeah, we are requesting council resolution. Please.
I make a motion for staff to proceed with 4th of July celebration.
Second.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Stover.
Aye.
Medina.
Aye.
Rainey.
Nay.
Lady.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, other items of business. Council will adjourn to executive session for a conference with the city attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under CRS section 24-6-4024B. Discussion will be held with the city manager on his contract.
Mayor Mike, you had added to the agenda, approval of a resolution to restrict the water use voluntarily. Do you want to make a motion on that before you leave?
Yeah, yes,
That's item 7F.
yes.
Implement the voluntary restrictions.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I'd like to make a motion to implement the voluntary water restrictions in light of the ongoing drought.
Medina.
Aye.
Stover. Rainey. Yazzie. Lady.
Aye,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, we'll adjourn to executive session now, and we'll return after our executive session is completed. Thank you.
they're coming back now.
Time is now 9:50 PM. The executive session has been concluded. The participants in this executive session were myself, Michael J. Levy, Rachel Medina, Arlena Yazzie, David Rainey, Robert Dobry, Drew Sanders, and Mike Green. For the record, if any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of any matters not included in the motion to go into executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I would ask that you state your concern for the record. Seeing none, next item on the agenda is citizen participation. If any member of the public wants to comment more than once in meeting, they shall not, it's only once in time, nor shall any person be seated at the time when another comments may be limited to 4 minutes. Are there any citizen participations at this time? Yes, sir. Would you go up to the podium?
Yes.
State your name and address, sir, and speak into the microphone when the church turned on.
Justin Masterman, 2527 Trinity Avenue here in Cortez. I just wanted to say thanks for letting us back in again. It's kind of fun to be in here. You guys are doing awesome. Thanks for making June Pride Month. That's also really awesome. That there was a great prayer that was said before the meeting. I thought that was beautiful. I mean, I've heard and said a lot of prayers in my life. That was awesome prayer. And sometimes it can be a little weird when someone can, you know, of faith or whatnot can say a beautiful prayer, and then sometimes it seems like maybe they might not be exhibiting those same qualities and some opinions they hold, but it's a lot of challenging stuff going on. I think I want to welcome Drew to Cortez. Have fun, and that's it. Just keep it short. It's good to see you guys all out there. I actually, one other thing, yeah, I heard that Amy was, oh, I'm sorry. Is it Amy Hawkins? Yeah, was stepping down. I just hope that it wasn't because of bullying or fear or something. I hope it was really because she's found something and wanted to focus on family. But I intend to keep coming to support you guys. You know, I think it's awesome what you're doing. I thought she really was kind of a unique voice. I'm really pleased when you guys don't all agree. I'm secretly happy that there's lots of different representation. So when things aren't unanimous, I'm always encouraged. And I thought that I think it's a bummer that she's not on council anymore, but good luck finding another awesome person to help lead us. I love what the guy said that was sitting over there. He said that he mirrored what I was saying. We voted for you to run the city and do a great job, and that's what everybody wants. So I'll just say it again, there's tons of people in this town that voted for every one of you and trust you to do a good job. And hopefully people are less scared as time moves on and feel less of a need to maybe lash out. I think that would be a good thing. I assume that's coming all of our way. So anyway, have a great rest of the night.
Thank you, Justin. I wanted to add that Justin was a candidate for city council in the past, and we're still taking applications.
You come in last place, you gotta take it as a sign.
Well, you have experience. Okay. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments from the public? In the other room? No one online? Seeing none. There's no city attorney report, no city manager report. Are there any city council reports?
Mayor, I have a report. I was
Okay.
able to attend the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. We had over at Centennial Park with the large shelter last Friday. And we discussed a number of different things. We talked about the forestry program, which we did have a presentation at our last council meeting on separating out the tree commission from the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. I forgot to mention this during the workshop, but it would be great to have that as an agenda item on a future council meeting, or whichever is the next available. We also discussed the reopening of the outdoor swimming pool, which Dean had touched on earlier today. We walked around a little bit around the park because it was actually raining. We walked over to the disc golf baskets, and there's some really cool plans for the disc golf course for it to be more dynamic, so that some of the baskets will move places every once in a while and make that course more interesting for people that like to play disc golf. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. Those are the kind of the bigger pieces that popped out. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Irina.
I attended the airport TAC strategic planning meeting. It was great to hear from the community and users of the airport, and basically start working on planning for the airport to grow and support economic development and continue to serve the users of the airport. I also attended a emergency support function meeting training where we kind of tabletop gamed a scenario of an emergency and how all of the different operations, the emergency support function people would be able to help support management in that case. And then I also attended an economic development planning session with the county, as well as Laura Lewis Marchino from Region 9, basically just kind of trying to get together and sort of build a structure to where we can work on growing the economic development of Montezuma County and Cortez. That's it.
Thank you, Robert.
Okay, I attended the Mesa Verde Country, meeting last month, or a few weeks ago. And it sounds like our hotels are doing well. They're doing, from our lodgers tax, it looks like they're doing even better than 2019 in these shoulder seasons. Same with our RV parks, which is good. I think people are itching to vacation, especially by road trips. And Mesa Verde National Park is open, and the cliff dwelling tours are going to begin June 16th. I think that's all I had, and then just mountain bike races this year. And I think we're going to see a good tourist season this year.
Thank you, Rachel. Public Arts Committee is off and running. Had a very productive meeting last week, 16 people attending, and the membership is going to grow quickly, I'm feeling. Also, the cultural center is under a huge transition and remodeling, and hopefully that's going to happen soon.
Okay, thank you, David. Is that everyone? Okay, I was invited by the new city manager to attend the department heads meeting this morning, and it was very productive. I got to listen to all the department heads discuss things that were on their mind and things that problems that they had and visions for the future. And if any of the council members have time on Tuesdays, 9 o'clock, between 9 and 10, I would recommend that you attend those meetings. It's really fills in some of the gaps and kind of lets you see where some of the agenda items come from. So it's invaluable, and I wish I had done it earlier. And thank you, Drew, and thank you for being our city manager. We're really proud to have you here working with us, and I like your optimism, and I like the way you're looking at all these things with an open mind and with a positive attitude. Well, welcome to Cortez, Drew.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome. Okay, I'll read the workshop. We had a discussion from the Public Works update on CDOT Multimodal Options Fund grant and the water restrictions by Phil Johnson. We had further discussion on the local vendor preference regulations, Rick Smith. We had an update on the airport business by Jeremy Patton, the airport manager. We had an update on the outdoor pool reopening by Dean Palmquist. And that pretty much covers it. I call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.